What happens when you stop trying to be understood and start focusing on being felt? What does it sound like when you stop marching to the rhythms handed down to you and instead begin composing your own? In a culture that turns conformity all the way up, there's something radically soulful about tuning inward and letting your own frequency lead. Enter Solange Knowles, an artist who didn't just step out of the shadows, she built her own solar system. A woman who whispers where others shout, not because she can't command attention, but because she chooses intention. Solange didn't just break the mold, she redefined what the mold even was. Today on Melodic Minds, we're exploring how Solange teaches us what it means to move to the beat of your own sound, not just as an artist, but as a human, as a soul, as someone learning to honor their essence unapologetically. Solange's origin story carries both weight and wonder. Being Beyonce's younger sister could have easily made her identity revolve around comparison. The industry almost expected it, but Solange didn't chase the spotlight that was already taken. She invented her own orbit. She embraced the backseat, not as a lesser position, but as a sacred space, a creative cocoon. While the industry was busy with formulas and flash, she was in her own lab, crafting, questioning, becoming. And that's the first key. Sometimes you have to step away from the noise to even hear your own rhythm. Solange didn't just resist the limelight, she reframed what light meant altogether. Her early albums experimented with sound, identity, and emotion long before it was cool to do so. Solange is true to this, not new to this. She wasn't waiting for validation, she was sculpting resonance. Because here's the truth, just because you're not visible doesn't mean you're not valuable. Sometimes the deepest soul work happens off stage. By the time Solange released the album A Seat at the Table in 2016, she had long outgrown industry expectations. That album wasn't just music, it was liberation. It was a reclamation of blackness, of femininity, of grief, and of grace. This wasn't an artist asking for a seat. This was a woman declaring, "I brought my own chair." Every song on that project is layered with intention. Vulnerability doesn't whisper, it hums. Empowerment doesn't shout, it swells. And perhaps most importantly, truth doesn't rush, it unfolds. Solange's approach was never about chasing virality or formulas. She operates from a deeper space, one where silence and space are just as powerful as melody. She doesn't fill every gap with sound, she trusts the pause. And in a world addicted to applause, her restraint is revolutionary. Her work teaches us this: you don't have to be loud to be legendary, you just have to be aligned. Solange's artistry is a masterclass in internal calibration. She doesn't create on the industry's clock, she creates on soul time. Whether she's painting, performing, or piecing together visuals, everything flows from her inner rhythm, not market demand. This is where psychology meets spirit. She models energetic boundaries. She's deliberate with her presence and just as deliberate with her absence. When she dropped her album When I Get Home in 2019, the reactions were divided. It was abstract, minimal, almost hypnotic. But that was the point. She wasn't trying to please, she was processing. That album was an ode to ancestral memory, to Southern Black girlhood, to grief, and to becoming. Solange moves like a sound bath. You don't always get it the first time, you feel it over time. That's what happens when your beat isn't crafted for mass approval, but for soul alignment. She teaches us this powerful truth. Impact doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes it's just honest. If you ever needed a blueprint for creative integrity, Solange is it. Her music, her visuals, her decisions, all orbit around one unshakable core, self-honoring. She wears what she feels, speaks when it matters, disappears when it heals. That's not reclusive, that's revolutionary. In psychological terms, what Solange models is emotional autonomy, the ability to live, create, and move based on your internal compass, not the chorus of external noise. And this is where music becomes medicine. Every lyric, every visual, every silence is therapy, not just for her, but for us. She isn't performing for attention, she's channeling for awakening. She's not here to entertain us. She's here to remind us. You can be soft and sovereign. You can be quiet and commanding. You can be different and divine. So here's the question melodic minds always ask. What is your sound trying to say? When you remove the charts, the expectations, the timelines, and the trends, what's left? Solange shows us that sound isn't just something you make, it's something you become. Your frequency is not a performance, it's a presence. And in honoring her own beat, Solange gave the rest of us permission to do the same. She didn't beg for acceptance, she didn't fight for visibility, she simply became undeniable by being unapologetically herself. So whether you're creating, healing, experimenting, or just learning how to listen, keep going. Your rhythm is real, your sound is sacred, and your presence, even in stillness, is profound. Thanks for vibing with Melodic Minds, where I explore music, memory, and the psychology behind the sounds that shape us. If this episode resonated with your inner rhythm, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below telling me what your soul soundtrack sounds like. And remember, you are not behind, you are in tune. Until next time, stay soulful, stay melodic, and most of all, stay true to your own sound.